there, solo co-op gamers. I'm Solitarius, and this is a very special episode. I have a prototype here from Chip Theory Games, one of my all-time favorite game publishers. It's a brand new game called Wroth. Wroth is a dice drafting area majority game. Designed by Manny Tremblay, one of the designers of Dice Throne and the artists involved in games like Wonderland's War. While the game is primarily is designed to be a multiplayer game, that I am also going to show you the kind of a draft of a possible solo co-op mode that is being developed right now for this game. Words cannot describe how excited I am to show you this game. So without any further ado, I've got the game set up on my table. Let me show you how it's played. So I have the prototype of Wroth set up on my table. Here in the middle we have the land of Wroth itself, the land that we're going to be fighting over. It's this really nice stitched neoprene playmat, as we would come to expect from Chip Theory Games. Beautiful, bright, vibrant colors. The areas are more or less easy to distinguish. We have this these arrows here, which is this deployment zone called the shores. The shores is this like lowland area, and the shores is actually adjacent to all of the other lands. So adjacent to these little islands here, and adjacent to like this lower level of the middle. So the middle is kind of like king of the hill, I guess. You have three elevations in the middle. You have the low, middle, and high ground. So the middle is adjacent to the low ground, but the low ground's not adjacent to the middle, so you have to like move in towards the middle. So that's kind of the idea. So when you're on the shores, when you're in your deployment zone, like I have these troops here, you know, this is adjacent, this is adjacent, this is adjacent. So it's a little counterintuitive. I don't just get to move here. I actually get to move to any of these areas for my deployment zone. And same thing for any of the other players' deployment zones. There are point chips here, randomly distributed each round. So this land is worth 3 to whoever has control of it. This land over here is worth 2. This land is worth 1. And let's put the and there's also these called spoils chips, which essentially just give you extra actions, and they're on some of these islands. So you can kind of set up camp here and benefit from the extra actions. So I have the game set up for a solo game. I have my 4 troops in my deployment zone as per the setup instructions. I'm going to be playing the Paladin. So on my player mat here, I have all of my troops that I can have. The troops are represented by these little translucent cylinder things. And I have what are called elite troops, which are represented by these dice. Now, you don't actually roll these troops. These troops are placed onto the map. And the number on the die tells you specifically how much health that character has. So this character coming out, called the Lion, is going to require 4 damage to remove. The AI is going to be the Alden. The AI has 25 troops. They have all the benefit of their elite units, and they are going to be controlled by some AI rules and this card that I guess will come with each faction. Each faction will have their own card. The game comes with these 7 factions. All the factions are asymmetrical. They have different elite units. They have different powers. They have different things that they are good at. So I'm going to play the Paladin class. Paladin with a Y. I'm pretty sure that this version of the AI is not really complete. I think that this is just an in-progress AI. There's a few rough edges to it, which I'll talk to you about a little later. So this is a dice drafting game. For the solo game, I'm going to need 4 action dice. Each die has a different face on it, which corresponds to a different action you would get. In a multiplayer game and in a multiplayer co-op game, we would draft these dice. In the solo game, I'm going to roll 4 of them, and then essentially just draft 1 for my opponent, and then take the other actions. I also get what's called an all-seeing die. So the all-seeing die is essentially a personal die that you can slot into your playmat. And you would roll this die, and you would get some kind of bonus action that you can take in addition to your regular actions. So the normal player, as I mentioned earlier, has these deployment zones. The AI is going to skip the deployment zones and just go straight for one of these island camp areas. So the areas are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I'm going to roll the chaos die to determine where the AI starts. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the AI is going to start with, as per the setup rules, the AI is going to start with 4 troops in this area right here. So it's going to, in future rounds, get a bonus action. So if I can take over some of these islands, I can also benefit from the bonus action as well. And I actually start with 4 troops into my deployment zone ready to go. A turn in Wroth is made up of 5 phases. So in a solo and co-op game, there's a 6th phase called the maintenance phase. It's referred to in the rulebook as phase 0. It happens before the normal phases of play. So during this phase, the AI rolls, which you've already done, to place the, I believe it's called their deployment base, to find which part of the board is going to be their deployment base. And then they're going to roll the chaos die and activate one of these nasty powers on this table. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the die. So they roll a 6. So they're going to activate volley. So what volley is they are going to deal 2 damage to an area, which essentially means they can take out 2 of my troops or deal 2 damage to one of my elite troops. Fortunately, I'm in the deployment zone right now, and the Alden cannot touch me. I cannot be hit while I'm in the shores down here in the deployment zone. So this attack actually doesn't hit. The next thing that happens is the spoils phase. So the spoils phase is when we activate these powers that are on the chips here on places that we control. However, during the first round of the game, we actually skip the spoils phase. So we're going to move on to phase 2, which is called laying the groundwork. So when we lay the groundwork, the AI is going to place 1 troop in their deployment base. They do that because they're playing against 1 other human player. If they're playing against 2 players, they would place 2 troops. I get to place 1 troop in my deployment zone. Next we get to do something called discerning. Discerning essentially means that we roll, I'm going to roll the AI's all-seeing die. They get a ×2 that lets them repeat an action. And let me roll mine. So this is interesting. I get this little sniper symbol. Essentially just means I can deal 1 damage to any region on the board, which essentially just means I can take out one of the enemy units. Next, we allocate, which means that we each get a Kora. Kora is the currency in this game. There's little crystals. So Kora is the stuff that you spend to get your elite troops out on the board. So I've got 1 Kora. So I do have an Iron Will that has 2 hit points that I could bring out because it only costs 1 Kora. My other troops cost 2 Kora. All right. So in the solo scenario, my job is not to wipe out the enemy. My job is to try to get 30 points before the Alden can. So it's a race to 30 points. You get points primarily through controlling these regions. If I have, let's say that we've got this going on here. Let's say that I have more troops than the enemy does. I would get 1 point if I controlled this area. Same thing here. If I had a majority, I would have control and I would get 3 points. Also, if I were to be the only faction controlling this region, I would be dominating the region. Domination essentially just means you get another point. So if I were dominating this, this would be worth 4 points. Also, some of my troops, like my Lion and my Rider, also contribute victory points. So if they are in a region that I control during the scoring phase, each of these is going to give me an extra point. So I would get 4 for domination plus 2 more. So if I could dominate with both of these elite troops, I would get 6 points. So the idea is to try to position yourself in the strongest possible way and try to avoid getting wiped out by the AI, because the AI is very powerful. They're going to start knocking my guy. They're going to start spreading out and knocking my guys around really fast. The solo game plays really, really quickly. All right, so we've gotten our Kora, and we're now ready to begin our action. So we're going to begin the heart of the game, which is the action phase. So I'm going to roll the 4 action dice, and I'm going to pick 3 of them and give 1 to the AI. All right, so I have an attack. I have an Exodus, which Exodus is good for moving your troops. You pick an area and you kind of spread your troops out. This one is called Deploy. You actually I would remove troops from my map and place them onto an area on the board where I already had troops. And the Kora would give me another Kora. It would be nice to get another Kora. So I might set that aside, because then I can start bringing my elite troops out, which would be great. However, I don't have a way. The action I'm looking for is I'm actually looking for this one. Where is it? This one that will actually let me deploy some troops. This one will let me reinforce what's already there, but this one's actually the way that I can either move troops around the board or I can move troops onto the map. So now I do not have that, but I do have a trick up my sleeve. All right, I am going to remove these 3 dice and give the Alden an extra Cora, because right now they have more board presence than I do. So I'm going to draft my dice. So let's see. So I'm going to draft dice. Each die is going to give me an action. I can also spend 2 dice to take one of these bonus actions over here. Once I take a bonus action, I'm going to cover it up with this token so that I can't actually take the same bonus action twice. So you do get a little bit of flexibility. I really do want to bring some troops out. So I want to take over one of these 4 areas. If I take over this area, I'm going to get a free assault action each turn. So if I go here, I get a free extend action. I keep wanting to call it reinforce. It's essentially just add more troops from your map to that area or to an area you control. I can get more Cora if I go here. This one is also worth 2 points. So I might just want to, I wonder if I want to go to the extend just to get the extra points. So I'm going to deploy. So I'm going to spend that die. And I'm going to send two of my, and I'm going to send 2 troops from the deployment zone to this area here because they're in the shores, and the shores are adjacent to all of these outer zones. So I'm going to go here and hopefully score some points. All right, so I want to send some more troops. Yeah, so I'm going to extend. Extend means I'm going to take 2 troops from my mat and place them out on an area I control, which is the only area right there on the board that I control. So I've got 1 Cora. I do have this once per game ability, gather all your iron wills and deploy them, then attack each region with an iron will for 2. I'm going to wait till the enemy spreads out a little bit. So right now I have the advantage. Right now he's only going to get 2 points and I'm going to get 3 points. But I kind of want to move a little bit. So if I spend these 2 dice, I can do a movement action. Go here, do an exodus action. I am going to move, so I want to move 2 of these or 3 of these. Is that a good idea? Or do I want to deploy to a different, you know what? I'm not going to exodus. Instead, I'm going to deploy. I'm going to send 2 troops out here and try to see if I can keep them alive long enough to mine some Cora. All right, so the Alden goes next. So what the AI does is they're going to spend their all-seeing die as quickly as they can, and they're going to add it to the first die that they can. So here they're going to get 2 more Cora. And the AI gets to spend their Cora right away. So the AI board has ABC for each troop. You see this ABC. That's the order that these troops are going to deploy. So you're going to go from left to right. So this troop, the Elegant, is going to cost 2. So he's going to spend 2 and send 1 to his camp over here. He does have 1 left, which he's going to spend a Winden over here to his camp as well. These are bad because the presence of each one means he's going to get an extra point during the scoring phase, although we don't score during the first phase of the game. And that is the first part of his turn. Now I had 4 dice, but I only took 3 actions because I spent 2 dice to take a bonus action instead. That means the AI is going to take 2 more turns. He's going to take exactly as many turns as I do. So he's going to roll his first die, and he does an assault. An assault is not good. Let's see, what's he gonna do? So the AI attacks a region they occupied or one adjacent for 1 damage. Now this is actually pretty good. I have no presence in this area where the AI is, and I'm not in any adjacent areas, so that's actually a wasted turn. So the AI is gonna go again. And they got another assault. Okay, this is really good for me. The AI is getting a bunch of actions that they can't use. So the AI cannot use their second assault, and that is going to end. We are not going to do a scoring round. I'm going to go ahead and play another round so you can see how some of the things that we skipped will play out. So we're going to move into round 2 with the AI maintenance phase. So the AI, first thing they do is they're going to advance the round marker. I don't think I showed you this the first round, but round 1 we had a 1, and now we're going to advance to round 2. The only real reason why that number is important right now is because it's how many times the AI gets to roll this chaos die. So the AI is going to roll it twice this time. So we're going to go ahead and roll. Oh, we need to roll for the deployment zone, for the deployment camp for the AI. So we have 1 and, of course, 1 and 2. So the AI's camp is now going to be over here with me. Fantastic. I still control it. They don't have any troop presence yet, but they're coming. I have a feeling they're coming. All right, so now we're going to roll the chaos die twice. So first time, we're going to roll a 4. Okay, so they're going to do their volley attack. It's going to be kind of hard to read on the mat here, but they're going to attack a region with the most threat for 2 damage. Also attack each region adjacent to that one for 1 damage. So the most threat is essentially the most troops on the board. Elite troops count for more threat, but I don't have any on the board, so they're going to attack this region. Yep, they're going to volley, so they're going to deal 2 damage to this region. So I've already lost half of my control in that area. This is not good, and they're going to roll again. Let's see, they roll again. They roll an 8. So they're going to deploy the next available elite, and they're going to deploy it right there in the region where I am. So I'm already, I still have control, but there's this elite unit in here who's going to be real tough to take care of. Next, we're going to go on to the spoils phase. So first, I get to mine, which means I'm going to get an extra core, which means now I have 2, and I can start sending out some elite troops of my own, which I'm going to need. Next, we can extend. So I still have control, so I get to extend, which is good. It's kind of what I want to do right now. I guess I'll put more troops out here, try to hold this area. The AI has the maneuver, so they're going to send a troop to this base. So they're going to send a troop here, so they've got their troops there, and then they're going to actually disperse. They're actually going to move. The dispersing of the troops was a little tough to wrap my head around, but essentially you're going to start with the elite troops. You're gonna pick the zone, and then you're going to move the elite troop to the next zone. Conversely, if there's multiple places where you can go, then you're going to consult the deployment zone order. You're going to send that troop to the zone with the highest number on it, basically. They're also going to send their regular troops out, but they're always going to leave 1 behind to control the area. So we're just going to go ahead and leave that troop there. So we have this big guy coming in towards the middle. I'm stuck here on the ends, and his deployment zone is going to be right there where I'm trying to have a base myself. Now we're going to do the phase called laying the groundwork. All right, so here he's going to reinforce. He's going to add another troop to this zone, still threatening me. I get to add a troop to my deployment zone. In the normal game, I think you add 2 troops, but in the solo game, you add 1. All right, now we're going to discern. So I'm going to roll the AI's all-seeing die. They're going to get another Korra, which means more big guys are coming out. I get to roll mine. Let's see what I get. And, oh, I got the ×2. That could be very handy depending on what I roll. Now I'm going to give the, I believe that's, I'm going to allocate, so everybody gets a Korra, again, which is good, so I can start bringing some of my troops out. And let's roll and see what we get. Okay, so we've got an Exodus, an Assault, an Extend, and a Korra, mine. I could mine, and then I could bring some of my big guys out. I could put them right there, and then maybe I could Exodus. And maybe try to move some of my big guys out and take control of this area, maybe even threaten their position. However, that's going to mean that I give an assault to my opponent. Now, my opponent's going to assault twice with that. However, if I can get some big guys out, look, my big guys here, this guy's a 4, these are 3s. I think I can maybe get away with this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out... So I'm going to pay 2 Korra. I'm going to put this rider in my deployment zone. My rider can actually move 2 spaces. And I'm going to pay 1. Actually, no. You know what? I'm coming up on the end of this. I'm probably only going to play 1 more round. So I'm actually going to show you how this works. So I'm going to use my Paladin power. That's going to let me bring out all of my Iron Wills and place them on the board anywhere I want, and they're going to deal 2 damage to an enemy. So let's say I bring out an Iron Will. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put this one here, and I'm going to put this one over here, like that. All right, now they're going to deal 2 damage. This guy goes down to 1. This guy's going to hang out there, and then this one is going to destroy these 2 troops. Easy. All right, so might be a little early to play this game. I might want to have waited. A normal game, I might want to wait till more of his troops come out, but I'm just playing one more round. I thought I'd show you how it works. Now, this card gets flipped over, and I cannot play it for the rest of the round, for the rest of the game. So it's a one-time only, but you can see it gave me like a huge board presence, and that's what's actually really interesting about all of these cards. So each of the different factions gets their own card, and what's fascinating is all of these cards just feel completely broken. And so a good part of the game is kind of nervously anticipating when, because you know what their power is. If you play this game a few times, you know what the power of the other factions are, and you're just sitting here kind of nervously waiting, like, I wonder, I know what they're going to do. I know that they could just play that card and wipe me out. You're kind of waiting to see if they're going to do it. Maybe they're distracted and they forgot. The AI actually doesn't have any power cards like that, so you can see that playing this card has let me spread out over the board, which is fantastic. Yeah, so I'm actually going to play this. I'll play this mine card. I'll play my. So let me play my dice action now. So I'm going to mine again, and that'll give me 2, and I'm going to bring out a lion. The lion is cool because the lion can heal. Okay, so I've got 2 of these big guys in my deployment zone. So I am going to extend. So I'm going to spend the extend die to send these guys here, and then they're going to reinforce. So now I have total control of this area. The last thing I want to do is spend my Exodus and maybe do Exodus times 2. So I can move troops from one zone and spread them out on the board. There has been some talk online about this power being kind of overpowered, so let's see. So I'm gonna Exodus times 2. So that means that I'm going to send, let me just say I'm going to leave my Iron Will here, and let's say that I grab all of my troops and I move them here. Boom, like that. Now, my Rider can move 2 regions, and I attack the region that I move through. I'm going to move there. I attack the region I move through for a damage, so I actually get rid of this elite unit from the other team, which is cool. So these guys will stay here, and these troops will now have moved into this area. Now I'm going to play this again. So I'm going to pick this area right here. I'm going to move my Iron Will is immobile. I forgot, so I can't move the Iron Will. Right, Iron Will is immobile, but I can move my Lion. So let me see. Let me move my Lion over here. Take control of that. I'm going to leave maybe a troop there. And then let me move 3 troops over here. Let's maybe do that. Okay. So I've got troops here, I've got troops here, I've got troops here, troops here, troops here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually now dominate 6 regions on the board, which is not too bad for a starter. But my opponent has not gone yet, and that's the end of my turn. So I've played 3 actions, so my opponent's going to play 3 actions. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to get another Cora. They're going to spend this. They're going to now assault. Now the enemy gets a nasty assault. They can assault adjacent regions, which now I see my mistake moving into this region, but it'll show you how the AI works. The AI is going to assault me for 2. He essentially does an assault, and then the instructions say repeat this. So he's going to assault again. He can assault adjacent areas. He's going to remove those 2 troops. I'm going to roll the die. Hopefully I can still hang on to this region with 1 troop. All right, so he is going to Exodus. So he is coming for me. So the Exodus for the AI is pretty simple. He's just going to disperse the region he has the most troops, and it's just this region. So he's going to move his elite troops out. Boom, boom. He has taken control of this area. He is going to also move all of his other troops out, and he is going to leave 1 troop behind. All right, now the devious part of this is he is going to do this again. So he is going to move his elites to the area with the highest. So there's several adjacent zones. He could move here, he could move here, or he could move here. He's going to favor the highest. He's going to favor the highest zone number. So the deployment zone map is the highest one is actually this one in the middle 7. So he's going to send his troops here. He's challenging my presence here. And now he's going to disperse. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and he's going to keep 1 there. So he's going to see he disperses his troops to all the adjacent zones. He's going to move his elites to the most important zones, the highest numbers. And so he has already presented me with a challenge, and I believe he's got 1 more move left. All right, so he is challenging my presence already, and he gets an assault. So he's going to pick on the area with the highest threat. All right, so the way threat works is really easy. It's 1 threat per troop plus 3 threat per elite unit. So this one has 6 threat. I think that's the most threat. Yes, so they're going to attack this for 2. So essentially all their assaults are twice. So they're going to attack for 2. So I think I can choose what the AI attacks since there's 2 elite units here. So I'm going to have him attack this one for 2. It's still hanging in there. The rider is still there. And then I think that will conclude his dice actions. And now we're going to go to the scoring round. I'll show you how scoring works. Okay, so we're going to have little markers that appear that for scoring purposes. So we have our scoring markers up here, and I'm just going to go region to region and calculate the points. So I don't dominate, but I control this region 2 to 1. So I'm going to get 2 points for that. So I'm red, so do 2 points. Next, we're going to go to region 2. I dominate this one, so I'm going to get an extra point. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. I dominate down here as well, so another 1, 2, because it's 1 point plus an extra for dominating. Plus, this guy gives me an extra point, so I'm up to 8 points. Next, we're going to go over here. The AI dominates for 2 points. You're going to come into the middle here. There's actually nobody dominating here. It's a tie. We're going to move over here. I dominate this region for 2. 1, 2. We're going to come into the middle here. The AI controls this area, doesn't dominate. So the AI is going to get 3. 1, 2, 3. And that is it. So that's the scoring. So I'm up ahead, and I'm actually up ahead because I was able to get a head start using this card. However, when we start, I won't play. I think this will be the last bit that I play, but I do want to show you this. What's going to happen next is the AI. The round die is going to turn to 3, and before I get to do anything, the AI is going to roll their chaos die 3 times, and if they get a 4 through a 6, so 4, 5, or 6, they can volley, which means that they can start wiping out troops. Like I'm gonna get like these troops and like these areas are gonna get just decimated by a volley. So like just to show, I'm not gonna play it anymore, but just to show you, so he would bring out another troop. Let's say that his camp moved over here. He'd bring out another troop. You know, we'd roll the chaos die again. He'd bring out another troop over here. Roll the chaos die again. He would volley. So volley means he would attack this area for 2. He'd wipe this guy out. He'd take out my presence here. And, you know, you can see he's starting to take this area over. He's wiped out my presence in the middle of the board. You know, like it's going to get nasty. So as the AI gets stronger and stronger, so your goal is really to score as many points as you can as quickly as you can, because once you get up to 6, he's just going to be wiping you out. So that is how the AI plays. I hope that you enjoyed the preview of the game Wroth. I just played a few rounds just so you could kind of see how it goes, and please note that all the components here, everything is still in prototype form. The player mats and the board look pretty good, although I heard that they might be doing some revisions to some of the artwork and some of the way things look. I don't know if these troop markers, these little plastic translucent hexagon cylinder things, are actually going to be what the troops are. And a lot of the cards and stuff are just printed on this kind of like this matte cardstock, which I don't know if that's going to be the final component or not. But the dice just have like little stickers. I mean, the dice are nice. Some of them just have little stickers on them. Some of them are printed. So everything is still in development. So So take this with a grain of salt. This is not going to be my final thoughts. These are just going to be my first impressions of a work in progress. Now, I'm also going to be coming from the point of view of somebody that is going to primarily play this game solo or co-op. I did play this game multiplayer. This game did work very well multiplayer. Got good feedback from the group I played it with. We played a 3-player game. I had played it a few times, so I had a slight advantage, as in I had internalized a lot of the processes and rules. The dice, one of the things that one of the comments that was made is that when you roll the dice, it is very possible early in the game to not get any of these deployment faces, which can be quite detrimental. Because that means that you're going to have all these troops in your deployment zone, but you can't actually put them out on the board. And we had one player who actually spent like 2 rounds without really being able to have any troop presence at all, because we just kind of hate drafted. I think only like 1 or 2 of these dice faces actually came up during like the whole first, maybe 2 or 3 rounds. So one of the comments that was made is they wish that there was a way to have like a free deploy action, or to always have the deploy bonus action available. So because if you spend 2 dice and you use the bonus action, that does mean that bonus action gets covered. And what we did is we just blocked him out. Basically, we just made sure that we just didn't do any more bonus actions, so that would never get uncovered. I understand that's part of the game. However, I don't know that was like an optimal experience, and it kind of brought the game play to a halt. I mean, I think that player did actually end up coming back and winning the game. It was because I was actually had a runaway lead, because I played my feat card really early and got on the board, and then but I wasn't able to pull it off. I spread myself out way too thin, way too fast, and everybody just started attacking me. But it took that was one part of the feedback, is it did feel a little too hard and too constrained to move troops. So if there's a way to loosen that part of the game up a little bit, just that deploy action. And I do agree with some of the things that I've been reading online too, and looking at other people's comments, that this die right here, the Exodus die, here might be a little bit overpowered, because if you can get on the board and leave your opponent off the board by drafting, and if you could get, like I did in the playthrough, get that Exodus die and do like a ×2, you can like move and spread out on the board really fast and leave your opponent kind of stranded. And again, I do know that that's kind of part of the game, and that things kind of will balance out. If you kind of spread out and grab points, it's going to make you a target for the other players. But that was just part of the system that felt a little, the way movement worked, and because it's all dependent on dice, and things just could possibly just never come up. Or you could keep getting like having to draft assault dice, and you're not even like next to anybody, you're not even on the board yet. So that was one of the points of frustration, is the randomness of the dice, I guess. You just sometimes the dice can just come out in a way that just benefits nobody, or only benefits one player on the board. However, I feel like that's a relatively minor thing. I did also read that this was designed by somebody specifically who did not like area control games, like dudes on a map area control games. And you know what? I think that he nailed it as far as making this game interesting to people who don't really like area majority games, dudes on a map games, which is actually me. I play some area majority games. I know that I play a few like wargamey things that are technically area majority, but I do not really play the Risk style dudes on a map kind of games. I just never have. I really just, part of it was I just didn't have a game group that played them. And then honestly, it's not really my favorite thing to do. So finding a game like this, that it's small, it gives you a lot of flexibility. You get to do some really clever plays. Maybe this is a genre that I like. I just haven't explored it enough, but this game really did interest me in a genre of game that I don't necessarily like. And I do really like the attempt here at a solo mode. So this is what I was going to say about the solo mode. This is in a draft form. And I understand that. I also heard through the grapevine that people were a little bit nervous about releasing this form of the game, the solo mode and co-op mode, the way that it is. I think that the solo and co-op mode right now, as it stands, is a little wonky, is a little unpolished. It's a little bit too much AI maintenance, and it's a little bit too swingy one way or the other, where the AI can wipe you out, or that you can just kind of like trounce the AI. The solo mode is actually really good to give the AI a lot of power, and then have to use the game systems to deal with that and kind of learn how the game systems work. And that's actually really, in a game like this, what solo mode should do is it should make you a better player of the actual game. So as far as it's simulating the multiplayer experience, I think it does it about as well as you can. I feel like what this solo mode is actually one that I tend to like. Wroth is a game where multiplayer, you are not just playing the game, you're playing your opponents. You're looking at what your opponents can do. You have all this open information. You're drafting very carefully, moving very carefully, knowing really exactly what your opponents are able to do. So there's a lot of like clever play, trying to outthink your opponent. And AI is never going to really represent that kind of tension, that kind of second guessing, second thinking that you'll get with a real person. So instead, this one is just very powerful. This is a behemoth that is coming at you relentlessly. And if you let it go for too long, it's just going to completely dominate. So you are left with the task of having to fight this unstoppable machine using your clever wits and your limited action. And that's actually the kind of AI that I prefer. I would rather have a strong, dumb AI that I have to overcome, like I'm the underdog having to overcome, than try to have an AI that really simulates another player. And that, because essentially that means that player simulation means that you're going to have long flowcharts. Now, there is a little bit of flowchartiness with determining threat and determining how the AI disperses, but honestly, once you have to go through that a couple of times, you can kind of do it from memory. It's all very logical. And that only comes up once in a while. So the AI maintenance is actually very easy. It's mostly just roll the dice, do the thing. Roll the dice, do the thing. Now, is there a little bit too much AI maintenance? Possibly. Because you have to roll this chaos die a certain number of times at the beginning of the round. The AI is also going to get to be able to activate the camp that they're in, and that'll give them another action. And those actions are actually slightly different than the regular actions. And then they're going to roll dice, which give them their own specific actions. You're going to draft a die for them, and then they're going to just roll dice and activate based on how many times you go. So they can go many, many times. And if you're playing this multiplayer co-op, I played this 2-player co-op, the AI just can feel like they're just constantly doing actions and spewing out actions, and they need it to keep up with the player, but it just becomes a lot of, I just wish there's a way of making the AI turns a little tighter. But here's the thing. This is just a draft. This is not really a review. I have all of the faith in the world that Chip Theory games, except for one game, really has not gone wrong. All their games are just so good. I am a super fan. I am actually a strategist. I backed, which game was it? Hoplomachus Victorum. I backed on the strategist level, and I've been a strategist ever since. I love participating in their campaigns, seeing how things are coming along, getting the new games. When a game comes out, knowing I'm going to get a copy, so I already know that I'm going to get a production copy of Wroth just because I'm a strategist. I'm gonna follow the campaign. I love it. I am a Chip Theory games fan. I am a super fan. I have invested money in my fandom into Chip Theory games, and I am a little concerned that the multiplayer experience is not going to do it for people who love dudes on a map games. Like, because here's the thing, if you love these kinds of area control games, you've already got a lot of them. I can guarantee if this is the genre that you like, you've got 3 or 4 possibly better games than this. Like if you are coming to this wanting just an area control game, what I think this game does differently, at least from the limited knowledge that I have, is that I love how fast this game is. This is not a slow game. This is a game that will only last, like the solo game only lasts about 4 rounds, which means you might only get 12 to 16 actions the entire game, maybe more if you can take over some camps, but you really have a limited amount of actions. You have these amazing asymmetrical factions with different powers, different abilities, a different approach to each game. You have these really broken feat cards, but everybody gets one, so it just adds a lot of flavor and disruption to the game. And even after only 3 or 4 rounds, you look at the board and you see how everything's spread out, you see the areas. Suddenly everybody just started on round 1 in their little corners, and then by like round 3 or 4, everybody's all spread out on the map, they're all fighting it out. So it is actually a very it's a very quick game, but it's a very clever game. The learning game that I played with 3 people took just barely over an hour, and that's because we're really slow players. I can see you knocking this game out in half hour, 45 minutes. And I don't know that a lot of area control games really play that speedily, and you feel like you get a full experience. You get lots of drama. You don't get a lot of surprises, which I actually like. I like the fact that during the draft phasing, during the drafting phase, I like that during the drafting phase, I can kind of sit there and I can look and I can be like, okay, so if I keep this die, I can do this. Oh, but if I move there, they've got the assault die, so they're going to attack. So you can really kind of see, because your players are limited by the dice that they have that you can see, you can really think, and it gets quite crunchy for such a light game. I also think that Wroth is a very important game for chip theory games. Like I said, I'm a fan. I've been following the company for many, many years. I think I've been following them since the first Too Many Bones campaign is when I first got into this company. I've just been watching them grow, and this is a game that they need. They need a lighter, cheaper entry into their system. It's got the nice neoprene mats. It's got some little chips. It's got some other bits and bobs that I don't know might be upgraded for the final production version. But I feel like this is a game that they need. They need a light, quick playing introductory game. Oh, and let's talk about the artwork on this game. This artwork is divisive. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be divisive. Some people are going to love it, and some people are not going to love it. I really like it. I feel like the printing, it's this one thing that came up with my playthrough with my friends. The way the words are printed on the neoprene, it just isn't clear. It's just hard to read. The map, I feel like, is like 90% there. It is 90% easy to read, and it's just a little bit hard to parse when you first see it. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's just, at least for me, I just see all this color, and the color is what I notice first, and I noticed that before the lines. But once you sit down and look at it and play through it, it's really not a big deal. I really do like the art style. I know the colors will probably be distracting. Manny Tremblay, I'm a fan of, I don't know if you can see my game. I have a Dice Throne shrine up there on the shelf. I'm a Dice Throne fan, so I'm following his work. It's really interesting that he's kind of breaking out into the solo design with Chip Theory games. So I definitely recognize some of the art style from some of his other work. The other games, Wonderland's War, right? Wasn't he the artist for Wonderland's War? So I really like his art style. I like the aesthetic. I really like the design. This is a very cleverly designed game. My only real concern about it is this game going to stand out in a kind of crowded field? Because I understand why they don't have minis. I'm probably the only person that's going to say this, but the thing that attracts me to this game is the lack of minis. I love chips. In fact, I wish that all of the troops and everything were just chips, but I also know that might be like expensive and make the game a premium game instead of an accessible game. So I mean, I'll take these little tokens. I'd rather have that over miniatures. I'm not really a big miniatures fan at all, so it's fine that the game, especially if it's going to keep the price down for the game, which I think is super important. So I applaud them for not using miniatures in this game. So anyway, like I said, these are just my first impressions. Take it with a grain of salt. This game is still in development. You can follow the campaign, see how I'm sure they're posting stuff now about how they're changing it, things that they're improving. Eventually right now, there's only one solo co-op scenario that comes with the game, but eventually all of the factions are going to have their own solo co-op scenarios, which is going to just be off the charts replayable. So the gameplay is great. It's not my typical cup of tea, but I found the solo mode, even though it's just in a sketch form, to be engaging and really kind of got me interested in a genre that I have to admit, the first time I played this game, I didn't really like it because I don't like area control, but I gave it a shot. I played it a few more times, I internalized the rules, and now it's grown on me. So I'm definitely going to follow this campaign. I know that it might not be your cup of tea. I recommend watching some more videos, looking more into it, reading, going on to Board Game Geek, trolling the forums, following the GameFound campaign, seeing how it goes. But I mean, so far so good. So far this is shaping up to be an excellent addition to Chip Theory's already really stellar catalog. If you enjoyed what you see, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the content I've got coming out soon. And please leave a comment below if you feel like it. And until next time, I'm Solitarius. Keep on gaming, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.